We're already riffing. Let's go. I'm ready.
Oh man. Well, thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I'm really excited and looking forward to it.
Yeah. It's been too long. We've been trying to plan something together. I'm very happy that you asked me to be here. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll kick us off. Welcome to Pause Your Pixels, the cozy corner of gaming, where we invite you to step away from your day and chat about games. And joining me is Kayla from JK Games, Drop In, Drop Out Pod, and from a variety of places around the internet. How's it going?
Hello. It's going good. I'm from way too many places across the internet. But those are my two primary. I've been really trying to also like do some more of my book content. So if you're listening and you like book stuff, you can also find me doing all that. I talk about mental health and books a lot too. So that's found
Yeah,
some pages.
I love seeing like the turn of every month. You have like a little,
Yeah.
here are the books and games that are coming out this month. And I
Aw,
also like to see you do the posts that are, if you like these games or books, then you'll like these books or games.
Aw, I'm glad you like those. I spend a lot of time on them. I'm
they're, a,
glad.
they're a lot of fun.
um, that's one of my favorite things to do is to like make like specific recommendations, like something very niche that you might not like, nobody might ever look at, but it's very fun to me to make them. So thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Happy to be
for
here.
sure. And if you haven't seen them yet, then you should totally go do that and check those out because they are wonderful. Um, but yeah, I brought Kayla in to talk about, as she alluded to, mental health and video games. October 10th was World Mental Health Day, which is a very big day where a lot of people take time to recognize mental health. And while we don't really want to stem everything just on one day, we kind of want to keep the conversation going. And so this is our way to kind of do that. Um,
Yeah.
but as we were talking about before we started the podcast, in 2023, I was diagnosed with autism, and it's been a journey trying to understand how my brain works and how to best prioritize things for my mental health. Um, and Kayla, you had a similar experience.
Yeah, I did. I was struggling when I was talking with you before the episode to remember. Funny. To remember what year, but I did also recently get diagnosed with ADHD, and I have additionally mental health is something that I've um been at the forefront of my thoughts for many, many years. A lot of my adulthood has been trying to understand how my brain works and what works best for me, and to advocate for others as well that are in that space. And I anxiety is also something that I've grappled with a lot in my adulthood. So I would love to talk about some of the games that I've played that have helped with that, and also a lot of the games that I think represent it well too, because I think that we're seeing a lot of progress in that space, which is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, we both have similar but different stories. And I think
Yeah.
that's, that's what you'll see kind of across the board is that regardless of your situation, you have your own journey with mental health.
Mhm.
Even if you maybe aren't neurodivergent. I know a lot of mental health leans towards the neurodivergent space. Everyone struggles with something at some point with mental health. If you ever have a moment where you're feeling overwhelmed, that's part of it. And it's these small
Yeah.
little things that kind of build up um, to how people feel and display emotion and how they think and how they show up, are all these building blocks of mental health. And I think video games has grown more to be one of those ways that we can leverage something that brings us comfort, that keeps our brain active and allows us to ground ourselves in what we're doing, that can really help us along the way. Um,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
love
you
that.
mentioned there are some games that are already doing that well. Do you want to talk about some of the games that you see that are doing something great for mental health out there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love what you said about like everyone's experience being different, even within the scope of like quote, like a diagnosis because for one, I mean, in it's can be so tough to even get to that point, as I'm sure you've experienced. But even within that, like I traditionally don't fit what you would see as someone who has ADHD. A lot of my inside brain is very noisy and hyperactive, so it's more like internally represented for me than externally. So even just in that, there's so much nuance when it comes to any sort of neurodivergence. For me, what I feel like when I think of like mental health representation in video games, I immediately think of the Life is Strange like franchise. Do you like the Life is Strange games? Have you played
Oh
them?
yeah, no, Life is Strange is wonderful.
Yeah.
I think the most recent one I played was True Colors.
Oh, that's my favorite one.
It's really good.
I love it. And I feel like there's always like such strong themes in those games around like whether it be someone grappling with mental illness or whether it be someone, have going through the grieving process or whether it be more overt at times where someone's struggling with like suicidal ideation or whatever that may be. Um I think that True Colors what I really love about that one is like how that comes across with, like, empathy and the literal, like, auras that our main character can see and how that coincides with your emotions and your feelings. Sometimes some of those games, because they can be triggering to some, which I do think that they also do trigger warnings very great with the Life is Strange franchise. That's a whole other podcast we could have about trigger warnings and sensitivity warnings, but, that is one of the franchises when I think about, like, games where I felt seen and like from a mental health and mental like illness perspective, I would definitely say that the Life is Strange franchise is one of those. And now I don't think that there's always a place for if you're really struggling, like maybe you shouldn't play one of those games because if you're in more like a spot where that might be a little bit more harmful than helpful, I would totally understand that as well. So I have games we can talk about where it's more like a zone out kind of vibe than like a into your emotions. But sometimes when you're having a hard time seeing that represented on screen in a game is helpful. So that's how I felt with the Life is Strange games, especially True Colors, but all of them truly I love and are near and dear to my heart. Um, yeah, that's definitely the first franchise. What about you?
Yeah, I think one that it's really funny is because this game just came out and I just finished it today.
Ooh,
Um,
hot off the press.
Ghost of Yote has
Oh, wow, you
actually
finished
done.
it.
Yeah, I finished it. I rolled credits today, and that game does something really, really special. I think in terms of talking about mental health and the journey to overcoming something. You
Yeah.
know, I think back to Ghost of Tsushima, and Ghost of Tsushima I already liked as one of my games that I like to go and just chill out in because you could just go explore the landscape, see all the pretty colors, go into a hot spring, go follow a fox and to a burrow, and it was really great. And for me, just like exploring my headspace, I didn't at the time understand why all of that stuff was really great for me, but it was a moment where in a game it kind of allowed me to breathe.
Mm.
And Ghost of Yote essentially takes how I felt in my brain and puts it into the sequel. And
Wow, that's really
it
cool.
it inverts the story to where, Jin Sakai is falling into a pit of despair and his revenge plot and is like kind of losing himself, and his mental health journey is him fighting these two sides of himself for his family, for his people. And Ghost of Yote, you see that in reverse. You see someone
Yeah.
on this revenge path that's almost crawling out of it, that's finding more. And so when you take these moments at like a hot springs or when you see an animal, it's these moments you're building those blocks into building a better headspace and to grounding yourself and to allowing yourself to get over certain things that might be haunting your brain or weighing on your brain, to allow yourself to clear your mind and think and have more thoughts that deliver through. So this one has been very special for me to do. I cried a lot today, rolling credits and getting to the end. But I think
In
that's one that really
preparation.
stands out, which is really special.
That's awesome. I love that. You make me wanna play it. I didn't play Ghost of Tsushima, but I've Jerica, my co-host with JK Games, is currently playing Yote, and she's really enjoyed it. So, I'm glad to hear that your experience with it has been good. I think it's cool too to see, like, these, like, more AAA studios doing work like this because I feel like traditionally these type of games are, I would say, like, lean more indie for the most part. Because I've seen, speaking of, like, another one that I really love, and this is kinda 2 games, but, Grease and Neva are 2 games
Oh,
that
yeah.
make me think of the absolutely stunning visuals and truly, like, a soundtrack that you can, like, feel fully immersed in, while also telling this beautiful story of, I mean, Greece is, you're literally, your main character is going through the stages of grief, and that is, like, how you are moving through the story. And while, grief in itself is not necessarily a mental health condition, it is a condition that us all as humans are afflicted by in some capacity and can be really cause a strain on your mental health overall. And so I think seeing a game that is exploring that, especially in such a, like, beautiful package, like it does so well. And I just love a puzzle platformer also, can I just say? It's amazing. But it's by Nomada Studio. It is published by Devolver, so it's a little bit bigger of a publisher, but I really love these games. I played them both on my Switch. I feel like they run beautifully, and I played Greece when I was going through a period of time of pretty intense grief for me, and it really helped me kind of, like, shine a spotlight on some of the feelings that I was going through while also, like, taking a pause as well, and, like, one thing that we kind of talked about before the episode was how we make kind of time for our gaming and prioritize ourselves through that. It's something that, like, when I sit down, like, at my desk, I feel like a weight lifted off. I'm like, "Okay, I'm taking this time to invest in myself and my hobbies," and whatever that looks like for you. If you're listening to this, you're probably a gamer as well, but if you're not, I mean, I do the same thing with books, where sometimes I might be more in the mood to actively engage in a game or a book, but I think whatever that looks like for you is super important to invest in yourself in that way, and so that's what I did with these 2 games, and I couldn't recommend them more, honestly.
Yeah, Neva's on my list to play
Yeah,
soon. I've played Grease and it was just lovely the whole way through.
lovely.
So I'm really excited about Neva. And yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of these tend to fall more on that indie, smaller studio
yeah,
vibe, where they can kind of get away more with telling these more direct stories and have these direct influences. Another one for me is the Artful Escape,
ooh, I haven't
which
played that one.
it's really fun. It's great. It tells a story about a boy that's uh, through music is having this journey of like self discovery, through like this weird, funky space time. It's weird in all the right places, and I think that's one that I
Fun.
played and in a time where I was having some self identity kind of crisis on like who I am and who I want to be.
Yeah,
Growing up in like Alabama as a man, it's very much you're a man. This is what boys do. This is how boys think. This is what boys are supposed to do.
yeah,
And I've almost my body and mind have been challenging me and fighting for like a way out to like really explore what I enjoy and just enjoy what I enjoy as opposed to like putting it away. And the Artful
yeah,
Escape was one of those where it's like you know, it it he challenges the identity of the person that was performing, and like how does he find the music and what's out there and portray that in a way that's meaningful to him, and put that into something that he feels close to. And I think like over the past however many years, it's kind of what I've been doing. I felt lost in that for so long. It's like I had to do things a certain way. I have to show up a certain way or be a certain way. But now it's a little bit more free. I can, like these things that are traditionally like not for a boy, or, like stuffed animals, or like nail polish, or, all these things. And I can explore that and experiment and see, I do like this. Yeah, this is great. No, I want to do more. And I think that game connected with me like on a deeper level. Really challenged my emotions, and it was just a wonderful experience. I think it's really great.
I love it. I just added it to my wish list. It's on sale. It's $6.99 on Steam.
Yeah, highly recommend playing it. It's a lot of fun.
That's
Very
awesome.
trippy. Um,
I
a
love it.
lot. Some of the stuff caught me off guard, but in the most fun way.
That I feel like that's like one of the best like gaming experiences is when a game can catch you off guard, especially when you've played as many games as both of us have. Having
Right.
something to be able to do that is really cool.
Right.
Um, I think I would like to, for my kind of next bit, talk a little bit more about something that is kind of a pivot from what we've been talking
Oh
about.
yeah.
But there are times where, for me, how I would like to prioritize my mental health is turning my brain off completely.
Mm,
And what a better way to do that than a first person shooter where you're just like zoning out and getting stuff done. One of my favorite games is I really enjoy Apex Legends,
mm,
which is it does require like some focus, but I've played it for so many years. Similarly with like I would also say even Fortnite, dare I say Fortnite. It's just because it's one of those things too. Like I don't know if you feel similarly, but there are times where I would really like to spend like quality time with friends,
hmm
but I don't have the mental energy to go and do the thing physically. And what that can look like sometimes is like being able to just play a game together. So like games where you can be social with your friends when you want that, but can't find you're out of mental energy for whatever that may be. For me, like I can get really easily burnt out from like having to mask in public essentially
mm,
and like have my like day to day, but then still want to like spend time with my friends. So I find a lot of comfort in those online games that you can play and really just like not even have to talk about anything serious with your friends, just like have a common goal thing you're doing together. Um, and so some of that is like can look like to me more like battle royale or like first person shooter type games. Um, so I find a lot of comfort in those when I'm trying craving that connection, but from a distance. And
hmm
I don't know if you can understand or feel that way too, but same with Fall Guys. I love Fall Guys, and that's a really good way to connect with people. Can be slightly frustrating, but
hmm
that those are some for me where it just really allows me to like disconnect from my reality and just hang out with friends.
Yeah, and what I really love about the social connection aspect in a games like that, I play Fortnite. I've played Fall Guys. I've played
Mhm.
Apex Legends. Helldivers is one that I've been back
I need
to
to try that one.
recently. Is that you are playing with friends, but I think one of those things that like those a lot of shooters do is that you know what you're doing. Like you get in there, you know what you have to
Yes.
do. You don't have to think as much about it. It's like you have a rhythm. You have that rhythm, and then a lot of these games have done more recently is they've given you checklists with their challenges,
Yeah.
and they say, hey, if you do this,
Love a
this, and this,
checklist.
then you get XP. And it's like,
Yeah.
great. I love checking off things on a list, and you're telling me I get to do it with my friends. It's like the
Free
perfect
dopamine.
scenario. Yes.
Yeah, I
So
agree
yeah, I
100%.
I think those games are great. I think a lot of people don't think that way about shooters. Like,
Yeah.
especially like parents. It's like I get that like a lot of shooters are a little too much for like children or teenagers, but
Oh, yeah,
that's
for sure.
what a lot of those brains crave nowadays is that rhythm that they get,
Mhm.
the knowing the task that's in front of you, but then also having that checklist, and they can do it with their friends. And
Yeah.
like looking back at my teenage years, if I hadn't had that with like Halo 3, just like
Yeah.
having that rhythm with my friends where I can just ground myself in what we're doing together. Um, I don't know. I don't know where I would be now.
Yeah, I totally agree. I That was me, and honestly, I had a lot of bonding memories with my brother. Me and my little brother would play couch co-op Black Ops a lot, and that would be like our thing that we did together. So yeah, I totally agree that there's definitely benefits to it. I mean, I'm sure as with any community, there can be that toxicity depending on like where you're at with that. So I would understand like wanting to limit it to a certain extent. It's not always something that I'm gonna gravitate towards, but there are definitely times where I just love to just sit down and some Call of Duty, man. Sometimes, you know? um, but what about you? Do you have any other like maybe non-conventional like games that you feel like help you with your mental health?
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is probably one where
Yeah.
it's a lot of just it's the point and click, the following different characters, learning new things, trying new things. There's different builds for all of your characters. Well, now I want to do it this way. Now I want to do it that way. It's like there's a lot of management aspect to it, and
Yeah.
I think that's helped me a lot with just getting my brain a little bit more active in moments
Mhm.
where I need something specific I can work on.
Yeah.
It's more of like, if I want to sit down and draw, I want to sit down and draw and just like really get into it. But sometimes I just really want to sit down and I want to go through a bunch of items and play with stats, you know? And so
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3 has been really, really great for me for that because I can just be like, well, let me try a new character build. Let me see what I can do and see if I can maximize this, or can I play with these, stats so that I can make this spell really powerful so I can do something fun with it.
Mhm.
Um, that's a lot of fun. I love experimenting and being creative and trying new things. So I think any game that kind of challenges me or it gives me the space to kind of do things in a different, unique way will always go pretty far for me.
Yeah, and you get to play pretend, which is, like,
Yeah,
fun, and you get
yeah,
to really just, like, feel like a different person kind of
hmm
sometimes. I feel like with like, more fantasy leaning and, like, choice-based games, I love a choices matter games. Anything that allows me to kinda, like, have multiple outcomes is always fun.
hmm
Um Another one for me is I'm really into, like, resource management, like, strategy type games, which it sounds like I've actually never played Baldur's Gate, but sounds like it maybe has some I know, right?
Oh yeah.
I know it's weird. A lot of people told me I would really love it, but, um, I for one of the games that is, like, my go-to, like, comfort game that I feel like I tell people about and nobody knows what I'm talking about, but it's called Fable Dome. And it is essentially this, like, you have like this medieval like sandbox builder and you I love something there's something to my brain that scratches like that itch where I can just kind of like set it and forget it in a way like okay I'm going to have this mind for this resource and just like leave it there and I'm like okay like that's happening and I think I assume there's some like neurodivergent connection there where it's just like little task that I'm doing and like it's feeling like an accomplishment in a way and
hmm
like I'm working towards an objective like you mentioned with the list and I can throw that thing on 2 times speed and just let it ride and get to see, like, my work happen, and also, I'm sure there's, like, a control aspect to that too, like, maybe feeling out of control in, like, your day-to-day life or, like, your personal, whatever's going on and being able to be fully in control of this like fake universe that you're running. But it's a really fun game that and there's some like very whimsical like characters that I really enjoy. But games like that, of course, like I'm a big advocate for farm sims personally. I love a farm sim. Specific, obviously, Stardew Valley is one that I've sunk many, many hours to into. It's been like my go-to for so many years when I don't know what else to play. I'm seeking some sort of like dopamine rush. I can go to Stardew and get that for sure. So any sort of like resource management strategy type game, farm sim like that is also something that like has helped me a lot. And everyone should play Fable Dome. It's a good time.
I'm gonna have to look that one up. I'm
Yeah,
not
I'll send
familiar
it to
with
you.
it. I am familiar with Stardew,
Of
a game I've
course.
been playing on and off is Fields of Mystria, which has the same kind of Stardew vibes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's been a lot of fun. But yeah, I think resource management goes a long way. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think checklists go so like checklists. I think have redefined gaming. Like put a
Yeah.
checklist in everything. Allow me to check things off of a list. That like it is so satisfying. It's exactly what I need. I have a hard enough time checking things off my list in like my day to day. Give me something easy I can go check off some things for.
Yeah. And I love when games give you direction, but also, like, allow that creative freedom at the same time.
Hmm.
And so, like, you maybe have, like, another similar game that I've played recently that actually came out not too long ago was Town to City. It's a
Mm.
new, like, city builder game, and they have sometimes it's so weird how my brain works, like, but sometimes free form can be intimidating to me, where there's just, like, no objective and like you're just given free creativity. Sometimes I want that and sometimes I can't stand that. It's like
Hmm.
sometimes I need the ability to have like some creative freedom in a game while also having something I'm working towards. And this game, Town to City, that I mentioned, is it does that really where it gives you like certain objectives you need to meet while also allowing that like creative freedom. So yes, put checklists in every game. Developers, are you listening?
More checklists, please.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
um,
Discord,
like,
it's a
yeah,
great place.
Discord. I know for Drop In Dropout Pod, I see y'all's Discord is bumping. I'll have a lot of friends in there that are just talking
It's
about games and
amazing.
hanging out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of spaces that I found through Twitch streaming and
Yeah.
people that I've met that I still play games with. Um, like
Yeah.
another farming sim game that I like to connect with friends through has been Coral Island that I play with someone.
I love
It's so good.
we need to play together.
Yes, 100%. I love it so much.
It's so
Um,
good.
we just catch up. It's like a moment to catch up, and
Yeah.
we're able to do it while kind of interacting with something.
Mhm.
It's you're having that space for you and this other person, but you're having the space for you to like ground yourself in something,
Mhm.
and really just connect with something. I think that's what's important. But it really takes that step of making that space and making that decision of saying,
Yeah.
I need 3 hours this week to play
Yeah.
games at least. That could be a 3 hour session. That could be three 1 hour sessions. That could be 6 30-minute sessions, however you need it, however you want to bake it in. It's how do you create that space? You kind of have to play with your boundaries, which
Mhm.
can be very, very difficult sometimes. Um,
Yeah.
and two, to go along with the, connection and community, it grows when you tend to it. Those connections
Yeah.
grow, and you have to make sure that you're setting those priorities so that you can have connection with other people. And like games is a great way to do that. I have friends that
Mhm.
I play we just play games. That's what we do. We interact by playing silly games. We'll play Repo, we'll play Peak, we'll play Lethal Company, a Lockdown Protocol, all those silly
Mhm.
games. That's what we
Yeah.
do. It's like this is a moment of joy that I can dedicate time to that I like to do with these people because they bring me joy. And that
Yeah.
joy helps fuel what I'm going to feel like tomorrow. And,
Yeah.
it goes a long way.
Yeah, and it fills your cup. Like, I'm the same way, and if you're listening and maybe you don't have that, like, sense of community, one thing that is, like, an easy maybe step you could take is find the game that you love and see if there's a Discord server for it. Like, I know Coral Island has a Discord server for their, like, whole company and their whole game, and so you could just pop in there and introduce yourself, and I'm sure there's, like, other people playing the game that you might could find and play with. Um, like, there's lots of different ways that you can find that community if you don't already have one, and it can be challenging to do that when you're in the, like, depths of maybe, like, not having a good mental health day, but what you mentioned I really liked about, like, maybe setting that time up at the beginning of the week. Say, like, on Wednesday or Friday, like, I'm gonna have this, like, 30-minute session, and this is how much time, like, I want to, like, recharge the week. Maybe set, like, calendar reminders. My calendar is my best friend as, I forget everything except, my calendar. I know I'm gonna look at it every morning. So, I will, like, set up reminders that show up on my calendar to do certain things, and even if it's not like a deadline, it's like just like time I wanna spend on X thing, so I love that too. Great tip.
Yeah. Yeah. And something I like to do is um, there's certain games that I like to remember specific things from, like emotions that they
Mhm.
trigger or thoughts that I had or feelings that incurred. I have like a little journal over here. So I'll like write down little notes and say, oh, I really like this. I enjoyed when this happened. It's like I felt good when, I did this thing. And I like to jot down little notes and creating a little bit of time to do that. It's a nice little moment of reflection so that you can help connect the
Mhm.
dots. It's like, well, why am I doing this? Well, I'm doing this because, it helps me feel this certain way. It helps me connect to these emotions that I'm feeling, or, it helps
Mhm.
me, just like get out of my head a little bit. And so, you're kind of like reminding yourself like why you're doing it, and it I think helps set you up for future scenarios where it's like, well, I just don't have a lot of time. Like, where can I squeeze it in? Do I need to squeeze it in? Well, maybe
Yeah.
because, if you're feeling overwhelmed, this game really helps relax you a little bit. And, you have evidence. You wrote it down. You have evidence.
I love that. I love a journal. Even any sort of journaling, I think, is so helpful for your mental health, like in gaming or out. I love to write down quotes from games that I really like and that
Mhm.
impacted me. So I I don't do it in on a physical notebook. I do it in my actual just notes app on my phone. I'll be like, oh, I really liked this moment in this game. But I love that you mentioned that because it can be as someone who can struggle to have, like, pull specific memories from certain things, notes are my best friend. So,
Mhm.
like, remembering how I felt playing a game, especially, like, when you're in that moment where you're sitting in front of your PC, PlayStation, whatever it may be, and, like, you have that, like, brain empty where you're like, "What should I play? What's what?" I do that all the time. I'm like, "I have no idea what I wanna play." And so
Yeah.
sometimes I'll just sit there in paralysis while I try to decide what to play.
Yeah, that's a
So,
hard thing too, especially right now
yeah.
when it feels like every week there's a new game that's amazing that's coming out.
Yeah.
How do you
Yes.
prioritize what you're going to do? And with most people, most people say, I'm going to buy like maybe two games in a year. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
how do you make those choices? And it's like, this is a
Mhm.
tough choice.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like reviewers out there. It's like, I think like reading like reviews goes a long way, not just like, I think like beyond the score. So I think there's a lot of games
Mhm.
that maybe don't get the most favorable reviews, but the way that people talk about them might connect with how you're feeling at a certain time. One game for me is Wander Stop from earlier this
Oh,
year.
yeah.
I know, like the reviews started coming out for that one, and it was like I didn't really know what to expect from it. You know, I think it was like averaging around like an 80-ish from
Mhm.
folks, which is still great. Um, but you know, when I'm like trying to make decisions on like how to play games, I'm typically like, typically not looking at that small game that's coming out that's not getting talked about that much. But
Yeah.
looking at the reviews and hearing what people talk about it, I was able to make that decision. It's like this actually is actually speaking to me right now because the way people are talking about it is they're saying that this is the character that's having to get away and learn how to take a breath and to stop
Yeah.
and to do things step by step in a process. And so I was like, I need that right now. And so I bought the game and I did connect with the character a lot, especially with like work being as busy as it was at the time for me. I was like, I need to slow down and
Mhm.
take this step by step and just like things as they come. Try not to rush back into anything. You know, it's like everything's got to fall into place. I need to learn how to make the tea first. And, you know, that requires me doing this thing and this thing and this thing. And it's like, that's so many things. But if you do it, then you end up with a cup of tea that this person's really going to like. And taking that time to making sure those steps come together is going to allow you to kind of move forward in a way that you weren't able to before. So it ended up being perfect for me. And it's
That's awesome.
because
I really
I read
enjoyed
those
it.
reviews that stood out to me. So I would definitely say there's people out there that do, you know, reviews and find those people. Find like your people. These are the people that I look for reviews from
Mhm.
because I know that I connect with them and they're going to talk about the things that I want to hear and then using that to help find the games that I might want to play in the future.
Yeah. I love that. I have several of those or, like, accounts that I follow, like, one thing we also kind of briefly talked about before the episode was, like, cozy games, and while it's not always, like, something that I look for and there's so many things that you can categorize under that, but I do follow some, like, different accounts on social media that I really like that will post, and that's why I like making those posts about, like, comparing things to games is, like, maybe you're looking for this game that made you feel like this movie made you feel or how this like book made you feel. And so I like making those like comparisons for like whatever you are in the mood for or whatever is like your what you're passionate about right then. Um so I totally agree. It can be intimidating. I tend to not love review scores for that reason because they're so
Mm-hmm.
subjective.
Yeah.
But it is hard. I understand wanting to look to those still because you don't wanna waste your money on a game that's bad. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but some of my favorite games don't have great review scores, so it's
Yeah.
it can be tough to
Yeah.
decide for sure.
No, I feel the same way. Like I feel like review scores are nice for like a quick pulse on like how
Yeah.
people are feeling. But you know, I'll have a friend that'll ask me, it's like, hey, what would you give that out of 10? I was like, let me just tell you about it. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to put on a script. Let me just tell you about it and see if you
Yeah.
connect with what's going on.
That's how I am about books for sure. I always feel so, like, scared to give something a rating, especially when it's out of 5. I'm like, "Oh, I mean, I'll give it a 2.75 out of 5." Be very, very granular about it, but
hmm
no, I think that's good advice for sure.
Yeah. Well,
It's always a deal you
we've
can find.
covered a lot today, Kayla. Um,
Yeah.
is there anything else you'd want to cover?
No, I think, like, if you're I would say my only other thing is to prioritize yourself, and there's always gonna be something to look forward to, so if you're struggling with your mental health, I definitely encourage you I'm not a professional, but, talk to someone, find something that you love, um, invest like we've been talking about this whole time in your hobbies. I kind of revisited my childhood games that I loved, and that really re-inspired me. Went through a phase as a gamer where I just didn't know what I liked anymore, and I was like, "What are my roots? Let me get back to where I started." And so I I found emulators or, like, I bought, like, a game on my Switch that made I played the Putt-Putt, car game on my Switch that I played when I was a child, and that reinvigorated my love for gaming. So it can be something as simple as that, but no, I really appreciate you having me and providing the space to talk about it because it's something I'm really passionate about, and thank you for sharing your story as well and how games have helped you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really appreciate your time and being vulnerable and chatting about these things. I'm hoping it connects with a lot of people. And if not, it was always just great catching up
Yeah.
and hearing from you. But you know,
Yeah.
um, if you're looking for a space and a community to find, Kayla, where can people find you?
Yeah, I will say, there's several places depending on what you're looking for that you can find me at. If you like more like book content, more cozy centric content, you can find me at Palettes and Pages on all social media. If you want a Discord community to jump into, just find fellow friends with different interests, you can go to dropindropout.com, dropindropoutpod.com, and see all of our links to all the things there. There's a bunch of us that have different taste in games there. So you can follow us there. Or if you would like to play a game along with friends, we have video game book club with JK Games Podcast. So a little bit of everything sprinkled in if you would like to find us somewhere. But yeah, fun time over there.
Yeah, definitely a lot of cool people over there. So I would highly recommend
Yeah,
jumping in to any of those communities. But
thank
thanks
you.
for joining us and thanks for the conversation. And for everyone else, happy gaming.